That game last Saturday, and I don't do a ton of sideline, like actual during the game sidelines.
Right.
Part of the process of that is, you go through these production meetings and you meet with different people. You get a lot of different stories about, whether it's the strategy of the game, changes that are being made, how the Vikings are going to approach it. Because I had the Viking sideline, Lindsey Zarniak was doing the Colts sideline. You also have all these fun stories that we were going to tell, right? About Kirk Cousins doing his brain training. That was one of the ones we were going to get into. When all of a sudden it's 33-0
then what do
in the first half, you can't tell any of those. Well, Kirk Cousins trains his brain. No, you can't go to those stories. So I'm watching the whole thing unfold. It didn't feel like the Colts were outclassing the Vikings, out physicaling them, any of that.
Right.
It just felt like everything that could go wrong was going wrong.
Yeah.
For Minnesota. Dalvin Cook has a fumble. They have 2 huge breakdowns on special teams and give up big returns. Cousins throws a pick 6. They had the first of 2 fumble return touchdowns that gets overturned.
Right.
This one was on forward progress. The second one was just nothing. Just a total botch by the officials. But all that stuff went wrong. You're still not, and I walked back to the green room to eat something quickly at halftime. You're still not thinking in that moment, well, this is going to completely turn around. Literally, it never happened in NFL history. But I'll tell you this, and it was fascinating being that close to it, because I'm, on the sideline, trying to watch Justin Jefferson going in and out of the medical tent a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just looking in people's eyes, looking at the body language and everything. When it was, remember, it was also 36-7 late in the third quarter in that game. When they scored to make it 36-14, I turned to Scott Landy, who was my spotter, and said, they're going to win this game. Because even though this had never happened in NFL history, there are times that you can sense, if you're reading energy and body language, and I'm not claiming I'm a fortune teller. Don't ask me for betting advice, Brockman, because I already can see the look on your face. That's what you're thinking you're going to do.
That would have been super nice to get that text at 30, because we could have got amazing, probably 30-1 there, Mike.
Scott looked at me and just goes, what are you talking about? I go, just look. And if you just read the body language on the Colts players, you read the body language on the Vikings players, the energy in the stadium, like you could feel it. Now, a lot of things still had to happen. They still almost didn't win it.
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor gives up on a route and it's an interception. Cousins goes right over to him like, what are you doing? But he's only running that route because Justin Jefferson's in the medical tent.
Right.
There are all these things that had to happen, but you could just sense it, that the only thing working against the Vikings was going to be time in that game. And sure enough, come all the way back, the biggest comeback in NFL history. And I think a lot of people saw the post-game interview that I did with Kirk Cousins. Number one, in those moments, especially with a chaotic finish like that, Greg Joseph's being hoisted on people, I couldn't find Kirk Cousins. I'm out there looking. I know we're getting Kirk. I'm going, where is he? Eventually found him. He jumped into the prayer circle after the game and whatnot, and then he comes up to me. I saw a few people commenting on Twitter on the video saying like, oh, he knew. He's just playing it up for the cameras. I am telling you, looking that man in the eye, he had no idea that no one had ever come back from 33 points down. So when he looks at me and just goes, in NFL history, that was the legitimate response. Like, it's just, it was unlike any game I've ever seen. Patrick Peterson came up to Kirk right before I was going to talk to him, was just going, I told you, 5. We just needed 5. And that's what he had told him in the locker room was, well, we just need 5 touchdowns. Cousins said, I thought he was being sarcastic. In fact, they come all the way back. That's been the story of the Vikings this year, not these massive comebacks, but time and again, they have had to rally in the fourth quarter. They have had to win these close games. What's that going to translate into when you get into the postseason and you got to get through the Eagles and you got to get through the 49ers and the Cowboys potentially? I don't know, but they quite possibly will have 2 home playoff games if they get the number 2 seed. Now you're at home for the 2 games, assuming you win the first one. And they're tough, man. They've got a lot of talented players, and they got one of the most unique weapons in the NFL in Justin Jefferson.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.